After releasing quite a few betas, and this is on PlayStation now, I have to say I have a pretty good feeling for my thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Ultimately, I like the game. I'm definitely going to be picking it up. But I do have some criticism of my experiences of the game. And I thought I'd run through a match with you guys and kind of talk about some of my feelings, how the game felt, how it looked, things I liked, things I didn't like. I want to begin this video by saying that everything you see here was grabbed from Twitch. So I uploaded it from Twitch and uploaded it to Twitch, streamed it while I was playing, and I downloaded it. So if you see any weird graphic artifacting where everything gets pixely for a few seconds or the image quality just doesn't look that great, I want you to know that it's a problem with my upload speed. It has nothing to do with the quality of the game. The game itself looks very pretty, and let's go ahead and start there and talk about that. I really like the way they treat the HUD, and I really like a lot of the more minimalist overlays that you see when you play this game. Everything is bright and vibrant and very easy to quickly determine what is going on. And I think that really works well for this time period because this game does take place in the 80s, and I feel like they had two very stylized approaches they could take. The first being something out of like a Terminator movie where everything is dark and gritty and dreary and, you know, full of shadows and darkness. And the other is something along the lines of what we are seeing with Cyberpunk 2077. Ultra bright, neon, flamboyant, like over-the-top graphics. They definitely went for the more muted, realistic, gritty tone, and I appreciate that on the HUD in particular. I like that the things that you need to see are highlighted in yellow. I like that the checkpoints pop out over everything else on the map. I think they did a really good job giving the player the information they need to know in order to make successful and smart decisions. And that's something that really bothers me a lot with the current iteration of Modern Warfare. A lot of times I feel like your objectives and kind of the overlay gets lost in the overall glitz and glam of the world. By kind of making the HUD pop so much more than the rest of the world, I think this game has a lot going for it, and I really do appreciate that. The world itself is still pretty, but definitely muted in colors. Now, I am not really entirely sure if this game is going to be significantly up-resed or significantly changed on the next generation. I'm not really sure if this game was designed with a PlayStation 4 in mind or a PlayStation 5. I can't say. The frame rate is there. The draw distance is about what I would expect. But, you know, especially in some of these larger maps, this combined arms maps, we have a lot of people on the screen, a lot of vehicles, a lot of draw distances. Everything looked good, and never once did I feel like my eye focused on something graphically that looked out of place or popped in. Everything was smooth and looked good to me. So I think that has going for it is that really, you know, consistent look to it. I think I would like to see a little bit more in terms of reflections, a little bit more in terms of dynamic lighting, and I understand that a lot of the next generation consoles are going to feature ray tracing and better graphics and everything. I just don't know how much they can do with this game, unless this is going to look radically different on the next generation console. I think you're kind of looking at what you can expect. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I think it gives it a little grittier feel. I just think that there could be a little bit more done to make it pop just a smidge more. Graphics aside on the map, I want to talk about the movement of the characters because technically that is graphics in terms of what you are seeing. The movement on the characters is there's something wrong with it. I don't know if it's a rendering problem. I don't know if this is something that is intentionally done as they begin to ramp up the servers in terms of what kind of stress levels we can expect to see. But animations just look wrong. They don't always necessarily match what's happening on the screen. A lot of times the action will lag from what actually happened. You'll kill somebody, you'll get the indication that they have been eliminated, yet they are still running at you, and then half a second later they'll die. You know, they'll ragdoll flop down. Vehicles look very jagged, and they jump a lot. They don't have a very smooth look to them. They really clearly stick out. The best analogy I can draw is if you've played Halo 5 Guardians, one of my favorite games ever, you'll know that in limitation, in order to reach a really high frame rate on the Xbox, they radically diminished the action far away. There wasn't popping, but characters rendered at 10, 15 frames a second way out in the horizon. And as you got closer, you could see a distinct marker where suddenly they looked good. This game seems to have that really bad frame rate all the time in terms of that really jittery, and I'm not talking about my weird upload speed. I just saw that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is just watch the animation when characters run, when they slide, when they interact with things, when they throw grenades. They just don't look right. They are interacting with the world in the correct way. They are shooting back at you when you're shooting at them. You can clearly tell when a grenade is being thrown, a door is being opened, a vehicle is being driven, whatever. But moment to moment, the animations just look wrong. And that is definitely something that, to me, is indicative of very poor server performance. And that is, you know, that really bad ping, say I call it tick rate sometimes, that you see when you drop into PUBG for the very first couple seconds. These are very common problems that I have seen with these games. And the problem I have is this is definitely a lower count. So this isn't a PUBG where 100 people are dropping in. This is a much smaller, more intimate map. And that's the kind of stuff that bothers me a little bit. I think they can tighten that up. I definitely would like to see that. So I think that's one of the things they really need to work on. The other thing that frustrates me about this game, the other big piece, besides that piece I mentioned with kind of the graphic wonkiness in terms of animation, is the way in which you unlock kill streaks. Now, they've gotten rid of kill streaks. They are now called Scorestreaks, and they persist through death. So no longer are you going to miss out on some of the coolest things in the game because you're not good enough to get 20 kills in one life without dying. They got rid of that. So it's more accessible to everybody to get these streaks. The problem is the way in which you unlock them is incredibly inconsistent. I have played matches where I have done nothing but grind the objective, run at the objective as fast as I can, trying to secure points or do whatever is required, and I have yet to unlock the kind of best unlockable in the game, the chopper gunner. There have been matches like this match where I was actually the best person on my team in terms of kills. I stayed alive for a very long time. I got meaningful kills. I wasn't always defending or going after the checkpoints, but I was in the area and still did not unlock it. So there's definitely some work that has to be done there in terms of kind of how you unlock things. And I think that if we're going to implement this system, which they have already decided to do so, we're eliminating kill streaks, we're going to replace it with score streaks. I think they need to be more meaningful because you're probably only going to get it once per match. The artillery, for example, I find incredibly underwhelming. It is a very, very boring kill streak to use, a score streak, sorry, to use. You target, here it is, you're looking at it right here. You target some points on the map. The artillery takes way too long to dial in where anybody is. It's not like a cruise missile in Modern Warfare where you get that instant satisfaction of you driving the missile in. You shoot artillery, you hear it go off. A lot of times you get kills from people you weren't even aiming at because they've already left and you've got the next wave coming in. It's incredibly underwhelming. And That's just one of many, but I feel like what they need is to make those more impactful because you're probably only going to get it that one time. So that's something I definitely feel needs to be worked on in this game. But some of the positives now. It looks and it feels, and for the most part, plays like a really good shooter. I love the different levels that they have. I think the combined arms idea is awesome. This map that is featured prominently in pretty much every beta you're going to see, Armada, is a ton of fun to play with 3 separate battleships that you can zip line across or take jet skis across or take boats across or swim if you wanted to. It's very, very fun. It's a sniper's dream. Not so much for me. You could see I stick with my submachine gun and kind of camp corners and stuff, but it's a great open map, and that really plays, I think, to the strengths of a really strong performance engine where you can have these incredible draw distances without really a distracting pop-up, without really distracting texture issues, and it still looks and feels really, really good. So I think they have the map design locked down. I think Miami is a really cool map as well. I think that's a totally different style of map, obviously more nighttime related, more of an urban setting. This is more of like a military ship setting. But I think the maps are going to be really fun. I think people are going to enjoy them, and I like that the design, I think in a sense the weapons and everything just really feel in place with what's going on here. I also really like the new modes, and I'm not featuring it here, but Dirty Bomb is incredibly fun to play. As much as I like Plunder, and Plunder is fun to play on Modern Warfare, I think Dirty Bomb is even more fun because it really forces action in these zones. You pick the loadout you want. You're not punished per se for dying. You can spawn in on teammates. You don't have to keep dropping in via parachute. It seems like they've taken a lot of the worst things of these Battle Royale type maps and they've put a deathmatch flair on top of it, and I think the game is better for that. So I'm really excited to continue to play that with my friends, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Other things I like about the game, I think the sound design is good. I know a lot of people were criticizing some of the earlier builds. I'm playing on a pair of Astro A40s with a mix amp. I love it. It sounds really crisp. Each gun has a distinct sound. The reverb of shots from a distance cracks in a very smart, meaningful way. I know exactly where people are at. Footsteps sound good. They're not too loud. They're not too quiet. I think this is in a really good place. So I think the polish is there on just about everything other than that frame rate. Other than that weird animation issue that I had mentioned. I think if they can fix that, I think they have a really good game on their hands here. And I know there's going to be more modes coming, and Battle Pass and more unlockables and that sort of thing. So as this game progresses, I'll come back with more videos as I need to kind of talk about it. I'm sure I'll give a more formal review, but I wanted to do one kind of final one here talking to you guys about my experiences because I've played the beta so much. I feel like I've seen it grow like before my eyes. I've seen it start off kind of in a weird state, and then it got better and better and better, and I think that is indicative of the quality we can expect. So I'm super excited for this game. It is an absolute day one purchase for me. I've already got it on pre-order. All your progress carries over, so there's really no reason not to check it out. The beta is still going on through tomorrow, October 20th. So check it out and leave some comments below and let me know your thoughts on what you thought, because I thought it was pretty darn good. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.